Right, hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Lashem, Yahushua, Lashem, Rakak with us. I want to give double honors unto the apostles and those the great no stone, where I learned this truth from. I want to say peace, mercy, and blessings unto all the hopeful elect. The name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh, which means he exists or he is to be. The name of the Son is Yahweh Shai, which means he is the deliverer, right? And we are the Hebrew Israelites, and there's 12 tribes that consist of our nation. Today, we're being so-called Black, Native American, Seminole Indian, Latin, Hispanic, Puerto Rican, Mexican, Cuban, Dominican, all right, Salvadoran, etc., Haitian, Jamaican, West Indian. But we are the 12 tribes of the children of Israel, all right? And the self-proclaimed white man, Caucasian, he's not white, he's red. His biblical nationality is Esau, Edom, Idumea, right? And according to Bible prophecy, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. All right, and this is a video I found on TikTok. All right, as the title of the lesson, if you can see, the children of Israel and the children of Judah will press together. Okay, when you do your history on the the Israelites or the Hebrews, or go back to the time of Solomon and David. Under Solomon and David, all of the 12 tribes were united. They were all together, right? But after the death of Solomon, the kingdom got split between the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom. See if I can get visually. So as you can see here from this image, all right, you got you know the kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judah. For the kingdom of Judah consists of three tribes: Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And Israel consists of 10 tribes, according to the Apocrypha. It says children of Ephraim and its companions. So the larger part of our nation is the northern kingdom. All right. Now after the Assyrian captivity, let's go into some quick history right now. This is 2 Kings 17 and verse 1. All right. It says, in the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hosea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. He did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hosea became his servant and gave a present. When the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hosea, for he had sent messengers to So, king of Egypt, and brought no present to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. 5. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years. So Samaria is where the northern kingdom possessed the land. But going back to this image, Samaria was in the land of Israel, you know. But at this time, the Assyrians came and they, camped about Samaria, you know. Verse 6. In the 9th year, Hosea, king of Assyria, took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them aloft and in the harbor by the river Bozan and in the cities of the Medes. So pretty much the whole northern kingdom, you, they got rolled on. The Syrian captivity that happened first before the Babylonian captivity. The Assyrians came against our people. Verse 7 says, why Israel fell. For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against Yahweh Shem El Shai, their power, right? That's very important. The name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh, and that means he exists or he is to be. And the name of the Son is Yahweh Shai, which means he is the deliverer. In the world, they would call him God, Jesus Christ, Jehovah, Yahweh. Those are not the correct names. And also, when you think about Jesus, you think about, this image right here. All right. And a lot of our people, they worship this image. They have it on the candles that they burn in their house, shower curtains and shit. A lot of our people, they have it on the wall. When they pray, they got this image in their mind. But this is actually an idol, a false image, a demon. And to this day, our people are worshiping idols, man. 2 Kings 17:7. Well, for so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against Yahweh Shem outside their power, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods. And today our people are into Catholicism, Christianity, De La Muerte, Santeria, they're selling their soul. So that's you going after another god, voodoo, and that's what makes the Most High angry, and it makes you susceptible to the Most High's whooping stick, which is Esau, or in this case, ICE. These ICE agents. Which anybody could put on a suit, fucking bulletproof vest or whatever, and say they're ICE. And there's been cases of women getting grabbed up, being raped. You know, children separated from their mothers, dads. So you don't actually know what's happening to these people. You know, verse 8, and walk in the statutes of the heathen whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel and the kings of Israel which they had made. 9, and the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against the Lord their power, and they built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. And they set them up images and groves in every high hill and under every green tree. And there they burnt incense in all the high places, as did the heathen whom the Lord carried away before them, and wrought things to provoke the Lord to anger. So our people, they backslid into idolatry. The northern kingdom did this heavy, you know, for they serve idols wherever the Lord has said unto them, you shall not do this. 13, yet the Lord testified against Israel, which is the northern kingdom, and against Judah, the southern kingdom, by all the prophets and by all the seers, which seers is another word for prophet, saying, turn ye from your evil ways and keep my commandments and my statutes, according to all the law which I commanded your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. Notwithstanding, they would not hear, but hardened their necks like the neck of their fathers, that did not believe in Yahweh Shem outside their power. 15, and they rejected his statutes and his covenants that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them, and they followed vanity and became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom the Lord had charged them that they should not do like them. Right. And even in that movie, Apocalypto, it shows you, the Northern Kingdom, it shows you they were into sacrificing each other, human sacrifice to the sun god, to different gods, so that harvest could grow, things of that nature. And then at the end of the movie, it shows you the Esau arriving, the conquistadors. We know what happened when they got over here. They began to slaughter, torture, rape. Right, a lot of the indigenous people got put on slave ships too, you know. So you can't say that these people aren't under the curses because look what ICE is doing to them to this day. You know, that links up with the curses in Deuteronomy 28, you know.
For those that don't know, the, the Supreme Court ruled Monday for the Trump administration and agreed U.S. immigration agents may stop and detain anyone they suspect in the U.S. illegally based on little more than working at like gas station, at a restaurant, at a car wash, speaking Spanish or having brown skin.
The reason he speaks Spanish is because you got conquered, you know, you're a conqueror that spoke these languages, you know, the Spaniards, you know.
That is all they need. If you speak Spanish or have brown skin, you are in danger.
Yeah, and they're not targeting, you know, you know, people that may be from, they're not targeting people with white skin, pretty much. They're not targeting immigrants from Poland, Australia, you know, Ireland, these other places. They're only concerned with the, you know, so-called black and brown people. There's a spiritual reason behind that, you know.
My family's in danger. And we have to step up. We have to be the change. We have to spread the word. Make sure to keep your family as safe as you can, let them be.
And a lot of the tribes, they can pass for each other. So, I mean, like, you know, and we've been saying it's like they're gonna, you might think it's just Spanish, but they're coming after all the tribes, the darker tribes too, you know, who might be an American so-called black man, but they could mistake you for a Haitian or Jamaican, and you know they'll deport you. You know, and you'll end up, God knows where you'll end up, man. You know,
Informed, and that's the best that we can do. But, yep, the Supreme Court ruled this on Monday for the Trump administration.
it's 2 Kings 17 and verse 16. And they left all the commandments of the Lord their power and made them molten images, even two calves, and made a grove and worship all the hosts of heaven and served by all. Apocalyptic, they were worshiping the sun god. You know, now people to this day, people are into astrology and all these different things. You know, 17, they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, which is that sacrificing the children, and used divination and enchantments and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord to provoke him to anger. Therefore, the Lord was very angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only, right? But it wasn't just Judah. There were two tribes that joined themselves with Judah, the Levites. When you look at the name Levi, you know, the Hebrew way of saying it, loyal, which means joined to me. And then you had Benjamin, which stayed with Judah too. You know, and that's how you get Southern Kingdom, you know. Verse 19. Also Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord their God, or walk in the statutes of Israel which they made, and the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel and afflicted them and delivered them into the hand of spoilers until he had cast them out of his sight. For he rent from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam son of Nebat king, and Jeroboam drave Israel from following the Lord and made them sin a great sin. 22. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam which he did, they departed not from them. And that's that proverb, as is the king, so is his people, you know. 23. Until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, and he had said by all his servants prophets, so was Israel carried out of their own land to Assyria unto the faith. Now after, in the midst of the Assyrian captivity, you know, the Northern Kingdom left that captivity, and that's where they came to the so-called New World of the Americas, you know. And even Christopher Columbus, he he associated Ozark with America. You know, where's that at? Could make a second address. This is second address 13 and first. Second address 13 and verse 40. It says, "Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king." So that links up Second Kings 17, because I'm telling you about King Hosea, you know, whom Salmanassar, king of Assyria, led away captive. And it tells you that too. He shut him up because he stopped giving them tribute. And he carried them over the waters so they came into another land. That's the Assyrian captivity that happened. And that only happened to the northern kingdom, you know. But they took this counsel among themselves that they will leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into another country where never mankind dwelt, right? And that's what we call you know, the Americas, North Central South America. That they might keep their statutes, but they never kept their own land. And they entered Euphrates by the narrow place of the river, for the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. The same region is called Arsarik. You know, so we look up Arsarik in its encyclopedia. Says the name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the law of Moses until the time of the restoration, which we're in that time now. That's Ezekiel 37, Valley of Dry Bones. According to Second Esdras 13 and 45, Columbus identified America with this land. So that proves that, you know, these devils, they knew where they were going. You know, and I even believe he made a bold statement saying that he couldn't put his sword down for an hour because he was doing so much raping and slaughtering of our people, you know. So so-called Spanish speaking tribes that are over here that are catching hell from ICE and Esau, they're 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 the Israelites, you know. The reason why they're catching hell because our people are under curses right now, you know. This is Deuteronomy 28 and verse 65. Says, and among these nations thou shalt find no ease. So a lot of our people, they come here to, you know, live a better life and, you know, get their so-called American dream. But then they realize that that's unattainable. That they come here, they suffer racism, racism, they're being persecuted, you know. And among these nations thou shalt find no ease, and you even have our people, Latinos for Trump, niggas for Trump, you know. Neither shall the soul of thy foot have rest, but the Lord, Yahweh Shem El Shai, shall give thee there trembling of heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life. So know the kingdom, You're feeling that right now, right? A lot of, Negroes, they're just sitting back like it ain't our problem, not understanding that you're next, pretty much. You're pretty much next.
So ICE did. So think of it as like a TV ad with a catalog component where I can choose on the Roku app and immediately it's going to. So ICE did a raid at the South Shore neighborhood, and a lot of people are shocked about this particular raid because this is a community where a lot of black people are at. Now, ICE claimed they was going to do a raid because of the Venezuelan gang.
It's the Venezuelans, Israelites, you know.
Agua. They said they had members out there, but I want you to watch and listen to what the people said, how they were acting.
It's some citizens that stay in that building too. It's citizens, regular citizens that stay in that building. Why y'all just raiding everybody's house? Yeah, I said, why y'all just didn't go to their house? Why y'all raiding everybody's house? That's violation of the citizens' rights. That it actually live there. I don't know nothing about the right. You thought I was giving intel? I'm giving you intel. Intel into the right flow. It's citizens' rights, right? As a U.S. citizen, we have rights, right? And y'all just raiding their houses trying to get to the immigrants. That's not right. That's not fair. Y'all disturbing the peace of them. It's 1 in the morning. It's kids that stay in that building. Y'all flashbanging. Y'all not being considerate. Well, they trying to get somebody. She thought I was giving some intel. I got some intel for you, Bookie, but what you're doing is illegal. If it wasn't like that, that's why y'all not showing y'all face. Man, and he just had a newborn and that little boy only 12 years old. They got the babies outside. That little boy only 12 years old. They got the babies outside. Get your ass out my view. Y'all immigrants too. I don't see nobody trying to take y'all back to Europe.
To overnight, and she says they took everyone and then asked questions later.
They just treated us like we were nothing.
Patricia Fisher says she came out to the hallway of her apartment complex on the corner of 75th and South Shore Drive in her nightgown around 10 Monday night, only to find ICE agents yelling police.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me, did I have any warrants? And I told them no, I didn't.
She says she was then handcuffed and released around 3 a.m. Fisher says she was told if anyone had any kind of warrant out for them, even if it was unrelated to immigration, they would not be released. Citizen App video shows the chaotic scene overnight. Neighbors tell us there were dozens of ICE agents. Neighbors like Ebony Watson says they ducked for cover as they heard several flashbangs go off.
They was terrified. The kids was crying. People was screaming. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner. Because they was bringing the kids out too. Had them zip tied to each other. That's all I kept asking. Where's the morality? Where's the human? One of them literally laughed. He was standing right here.
Have you ever wanted to see your home from space? With this free satellite Earth Maps tool, you can zoom right down to your.
He said, them kids.
Watson says budget trucks.
And that's Esau, man, coming down with with great wrath. Okay, and they gonna, you know, it's gonna get worse than that. This is from Jeremiah. From Jeremiah chapter 50. This is the NLT. You go down to verse 33. It says, "This is what the Lord of Heaven's armies says, Yahweh Shem Shah hosts. The people of Israel and Judah have been wronged, and we have been wronged where? In America. We have been wronged by who? So-called white man. Who's the so-called white man? It's Esau Edom. You know, their captives hold them and refuse to let them go. But the one who redeems them is strong. His name is Yahweh Bashem El Shai of Heaven's armies. He will defend them and give them rest again in Israel. But for the people of Babylon, there will be no rest. Right? The Lord is destroying this place. We're already in the midst of a government shutdown. That's the modern plagues on Egypt. Soon to be an economic collapse, Egyptian against Egyptian.
The military-style vans were used to separate parents from their children. Other neighbors say they saw agents destroying property to get in the building.
And they had a big 15-inch chainsaw with a round blade on it, cutting this fence down. We're under siege. We're being invaded by our own.
That's what the scripture says. It says, "You shall see." Where it says Luke 21 and 20, and when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is not. Like going back to the one clip.
These large. This is the United States of America, and all that bullshit is done. It's over. It's finished.
If Esau, he's the one that put guns and drugs in our community. He owns the record label that allow these rappers to make the music, put spells over the music, while people listen to it, builds the prison industrial complex. He's the accuser of thy brother.
The gangbangers that you deal with, they think that they're ruthless. They have no idea how ruthless we are. They think they're
Esau. Okay, when you read about the transatlantic slave trade and the horrors they've done, how they're raping our people, feeding them to the sharks, they threw so much people overboard that the sharks changed the route that they hunt unto this day. And these are facts. How they would test their might on a Native American woman, cut off the stomach and stomp the baby. This is the real ruthless man. And his blessing, the Lord blessed Esau with the gun of the sword. And his top sword is the nuclear missiles. This is Genesis 27 and verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me even also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And this is after he sold his birthright to Jacob. The scripture goes on to say that he despised his birthright. And he didn't even, he didn't really care about it. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept, and Isaac his father answered, said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword, and he lives in the best parts of the planet. He got his Space Force, Air Force, 40. And by that sword shalt thou live, so that's his military might. And shalt serve thy brother, shall come to pass, and thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing for which his father blessed him. That's ultimately that blessings the kingdom of heaven to be sons of the Most High. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. So ultimately it all goes back to the birthright. A lot of these devils, they can't even explain the hatred they got for our people because it's a spiritual reading.
They have no idea how tough we are. They think that they're hardcore. We are so much more hardcore than they are. And we have the entire weight of the United States government behind us. What do they have? They have nothing behind them. So we are going to win. They are going to lose. We are going to rescue Memphis. This is the United States of America. They have nothing behind the weight of the United States government behind us. What do they have? They have nothing behind them.
Right, you should. Our people should be going to their power, which is Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because they don't know him or they don't want to return. They're not going to have nothing behind them, and therefore they're going to be susceptible to being slaughtered, to having tortured, to having their families separated by ICE, etc. So these are the things that the Most High sent his watchmen to warn you about, and now those days are here. This is Ezekiel 3 and verse 17. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. So we're the watchmen, watching the news, prophecy articles, and put out these videos to give you the warning, to let you know who you are, the name of the Heavenly Father, and to repent, so that, Lord willing, you may be protected. 18, when I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest them not warning, no speakers to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save the life of sin, wicked man shall die in iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. And if thou warn the wicked, he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. So, part of why we do these lessons is also to get the blood of our hand, you know.
The FBI did confirm this morning that they did help the U.S. Border Patrol carry out a targeted immigration enforcement operation in this area, and they say they have been supporting these efforts at the direction of the U.S. Attorney General.
All right. So the people in Chicago say they're feeling under siege with all this situation that's going on with ICE. Now, I'm seeing the tactics. I'm seeing how they're moving. They're being very aggressive. And it's like I see it coming. What's going to end up happening? And I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm completely wrong on what I'm about to say. What's going to end up possibly happening? One of these aggressive ICE agents or one of the federal agents is going to harm somebody and take their life. And it's going to be a bad situation. And who they do, it may be a child, it can be somebody, right?
And Lord, and that's really the Lord allowing that to happen, because let's see. This is Matthew 11 and verse 12 in NLT. And from the time of John the Baptist began preaching until now, the kingdom of heaven has been forcefully advancing, and violent people are attacking it. And that's Esau, so-called white man. He's been violently persecuting us, attacking us, and the Lord could allow that happen to raise our people up too. This is Genesis 49 and verse 9. Judah is the lion's whelp. That's the so-called black man in America, tribe of Judah. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, couched as an old lion. Now, people, they're more concerned with killing the ops, which the ops is another man that look like you. They're not in the spirit of going up against Esau. That's going to change real soon. He couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? So play what he said back.
It can be somebody, right? And that is going to harm somebody and take their life. And it's going to be a bad situation. One of the federal agents, I'm completely wrong on what I'm about to say. What's going to end up possibly happening? One of these aggressive ICE agents or one of the federal agents is going
They're one of them hardcore racist Edomites. Most of I put the spirit on them.
to harm somebody and take their life. And it's going to be
It's really just a matter of time before that happens. Or what about, another aspect, the YN starts shooting at it. That's exactly what Esau wants, you know?
a bad situation, and who they do it may be a child, it can be somebody, right? And that they're gonna do it at the right time, and that is what's gonna spark off people. Because let me tell you the environment that they're doing this in. A lot of layoffs are happening to people, mass firings are happening to people. People are worried about if I'm going to be homeless, can I afford groceries? And when you start getting people in that kind of position where they are desperate, and when they get to a point, I feel like I have nothing to lose, and they're not even worried about no jail or any of that at that point, right? And for sure, they're not worried about no ICE agents or whoever else they're worried about. They're going to have a problem. And I've always said this, and it's the truth. It's a numbers game in America. There's more people than them at the end of the day. It's more people. I heard it.
Galatians chapter 12, verse 12 says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time." The so-called white man is coming down with great wrath. He's not going to have any pity, you know?
ICE is now detaining African American citizens in Chicago.
We said that. It ain't going to just be Spanish speakers. It's going to be, Southern Kingdom too, so-called black people too, because as it said in Jeremiah, I read it again, Jeremiah 50 and 33, this is the NLT. This is what the Lord of Heaven's army says. The people of Israel and Judah have been wronged. All right. Let me get the KJV. This is the King James Version, Jeremiah 50:33. Thus said Yahweh Shem Yahshua host, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. All that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. So we're here being oppressed together. It shows that we are the same stock, the same people.
As we speak. And governor has come out and said to record everything, narrate everything, make sure everything is documented, ask for their badge number, even if they refuse, get them on camera. But I'm going to say that again. ICE is now detaining Black citizens in Chicago. For every Black American that got on the internet and this app and refused to talk about what ICE was doing and what is going on in our country, because I don't really care about the Hispanic community because they don't care about us, which is BS in of itself, but that's a whole nother conversation. We told you that we would be next.
Exactly. Right? I'll read it again, man. It says, just said Yahweh Shem Yahshua host, the children of Israel and the children of Judah will press together. And we read earlier in 2 Kings how the Syrians came and they took the northern kingdom, but they ain't oppressed the southern kingdom. Right? Then later came the Babylonians and they took the southern kingdom. Right? But by that time, the northern kingdom was already in America. So this prophecy is being fulfilled now in America, where all the tribes are being oppressed by Esau.
Right? And y'all didn't listen. And look. So this is a sign for everyone to get off their damn high horses and start caring about what is going on in your communities and in your nation. Whether or not is this happening to someone who looks like you. simply because we are human.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without.
So ICE did a raid at.
I may not have time. No, I just get a couple more precepts. And the point has been made, it's not just gonna, ICE, they're not just gonna stop at Spanish speaker tribe. They're gonna get Southern Kingdom too. So that's why I can go back to this is the book of Amos, chapter 1 and verse 11. Thus said Yahweh Shem Shai, power for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword and did cast off all pity. Let's look up this word, pursue.
Strong's H 7291. Radaf. Radaf.
If you look at it, it says to persecute, to harass. Okay, so they're just targeting people off the fact that they're brown skin and speak Spanish. That's persecution. All right, that's harassment. They target you because you're black. They think you're Jamaican or Haitian. All right, that's Esau showing his horns. Amos 1:11. Thus said Yahweh Shem El Shai, post for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. They're still mad about the birthright, and a lot of them don't understand that hatred. But again, that's what it goes back to, you know. It's Daniel chapter 12:1, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, withstand it for the children of thy people. It's gonna get worse than this. It's gonna get so bad, the Lord's gonna have to send, says Michael to our angels to help us, man. And of course we already have guardian angels with us. It says, and there shall be a time of trouble, right? Jacob's trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. It's gonna be worse than the Assyrian captivity, when the Greeks, Babylonians, and Romans, 70 AD, chattel slavery, and at that time, thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. So that's what I hope, and that's what I faith, and that's what we're praying for, to be found written in that book, because there's no other way for you to be saved from the impending doom. Babylon is finished. All right, Trump, it's nothing Trump could do. There's no president you could put in office, no bill you can pass, no amount of voting, no amount of prayer can save this place. It's under the Most High's judgment, right? So the only thing we can do is return to the Most High, hope that He has mercy on our household. It's Isaiah 55:6. Seek ye the Lord while He may be found, call ye upon Him while He is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and return unto Yahweh Shem El Shai, and He will have mercy upon him, and to our power, for He will abundantly pardon. Right? So with that, I'm going to end it. Pray this has been edifying, informative. I want to give all praise, honor, glory unto Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Hashem, Kakodas, Shalom,